Hello everyone. Going to start to go live 5 minutes before we start. Okay, can see the OKs coming up, but I can't see who is in. That's okay. Hello everyone, sorry, apologies, I can't see everyone who's logging in. You can see just numbers. For some reason my mobile app here. Thank you for start joining us with your presence here. Thank you very much. I can see, yeah, Rodrigo is here. Thank you. Hi Rodrigo. Thank you. Can you hear me well, Rodrigo? I guess it would be a good time for checking up that you guys can hear me okay. Yes, thank you. All good. Yeah, there is always a delay with the sound and what we say, so it's great. So, but at least we are talking. Well, welcome. So we'll be waiting another 3 minutes to start our spiritual talk here in another Saturday afternoon. So again, this talking is it's going to be recorded. Then anyone can watch later through the Facebook Live videos being recorded. Thank you for the okay. So as everyone doing from home. So apologies in advance for the children screaming on the background. So and we have another 2 minutes so we can start. Hello, Rosanna gave a hello. Eliana, hello. Rosanna is watching, Eliana is watching, thank you. Okay, it's a 6:15, so let's start our talk. So first, my name is Tarso. I'm a volunteer for the Spirit Center, the Paul Stevens Spirit Center. So we're going to start with a connection. a lecture here in English. So, and this another Saturday with the Paul Stephen Spirit Center. Hello, Janice. Okay, so let's start with prayer. So be comfortable in closing your eyes or keep your eyes open. So hopefully we can now connect. So with the help with our mentors and with our mentor of Paul Stephen Spirit Center, we're going to elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus. We're going to elevate our thought to our mentor of Paul Stephen Spirit Center and our angel guardians, our mentors, that we can be enlightened, be illuminated by our Master. And we thank our mentor spirits of Australia that allow us to be here in this beautiful land, and as well as our motherland from previous places like Brazil or any other country. So we thank you for all our support, and then we can connect, if we can, and we can ask also. Thank you, Mother Maria, Mother of Jesus. We can give her blessing to us. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully we can reach to all of you with our spiritual talk this afternoon, and hopefully you can enjoy the lecture today. And the topic today is God Can Hear You. It's a quite interesting talk, and quite interesting to think on this topic, that God can hear us. Whether you call God, force of nature, Jehovah, or any other name that it's used to define God, because God is one and God is for everyone. So God, this force, it really doesn't matter, because we all brothers, and it doesn't matter what religion, what belief is. So God is this force that can hear us and sense us. So that's what we want to discuss. But if you're religious in any way, you may accept this blindly without even thinking about it. You accept, which is okay. However, but if you're a spiritist, we motivate that we ask questions. We don't accept these things blindly. We just go and extend and think about how is that possible. Ask any questions possible about everything with the aim to develop our understanding, and then we can apply a lot better in our lives, because if you have a logical faith, you can accept easily. And if you're non-religious or non-spiritualist, in that case, some say, for example, you think that God can hear us, this is crazy, which is okay too. And that's because a lot of people that don't believe may carry these misconceptions about God that been carrying for so many centuries, so many thousands of years, of a God that is all power, and they've been teaching all this for many centuries. The God is all power, supreme, powerful, but is punitive. It's unforgiving. And that we should fear God for any reasons. And you must obey certain rules imposed by religions. Otherwise you fear the power of God, the wrath of God. There's no such thing, fearing of God or wrath of God. In Spiritism, there's none of these beliefs. In Spiritism, God is all love, it's all power, it's humble. And developing this idea, the way other religions, people with this being afraid of God, is to manipulate and trying to use as a tool to convincing people to do what they want you to do. Even in political arenas, we can see God being using the name of God to convincing people of their ideas. We've been hearing lately about, it's the will of God that I'm here. Thank you, very nice to listen to you. So that's why many contest and ask, why should I even talk to this God that's punitive? that is non-forgiven? Does God even exist? And that's why a lot of people ask these questions based on these misconceived beliefs. Well, we have to note first in Spiritism, as I said, God is all love, no judgmental, nor punitive, as some believe. There's no need of fear. Also, there's no eternal hell. God has no political party. God has no single religion, if you think about it. All the religions believe a God, then God doesn't belong to any specific one. God belongs to everyone. It doesn't matter what religion, even if you're atheist, even though they don't believe it, because, if someone tells me that God has attribute of a human, a punitive one, and it has maybe forgive you, I wouldn't believe either if I listen to this. So, but God is not, in reality, as we study Spiritism and many other religions as well, already past this belief. Some of them still persist in those old ideas, but a lot of them now have new ideas about God. Start to talk about God differently. So, God's not an old man with a white beard. We have to understand he's immaterial, no body. And his nature differs from anything that we can call matter. Right, so it's a spirit. I think everyone agrees with that. And potentially, with all this combination of these ideas, it starts to be a little bit more logical that one, he's all loving and forgiving, and he's immaterial. He doesn't have the characteristics of a human being, specific as us humans. His all power is everywhere in the universe, and applies some marvelous rules to make the universe so balanced. So you start to be a little bit more logical, a little bit more okay to think about and being towards and happy to talk to something, to think about something or someone, God, all power, but all love. Someone, God, that can help me spiritually, emotionally, or any other way, and feel that we're not alone, that we can, in the worst case situation as possible, there is a safe harbor that we can trust that we are not alone. Many, with the situations of lockdown that we're passing through, we are so alone. And His all love, His supreme providence is spread across all universe and cares about all creatures. So that means He's not all the time there trying to punishing us if we are on the wrong path. It's not about what God is. He's there to help us. Well, He put rules around the universe, rules about action and reaction that we see in normal life, in nature. If you attack nature, nature responds back. There are the rules imposed in the universe that respond to that. So in reality, He's helping us in every way He can. But it's our will to do anything about it. And also, He doesn't need to forgive us because He's never been upset in the first place. Forgiveness is about us. It's us. It's a human thing. It's a mortal thing. Not for God. God doesn't need to forgive us because He's never upset with us, because He understands that we're not evolved yet. Right. So He wants us to go the right path, but it's us to develop and find the right ways to get there. So He's something. So the reason I was saying about being something is that we really don't understand what God is, really. And the books of Allan Kardec, which we're based on, the Spirit's book, the Gospel According to Spiritism, and the Genesis. And most of this talk is based on the Genesis, which is a book written and compiled by Allan Kardec through the mediums, through the receiving these Spirit's messages. So we have everything I'm talking about is based on one of the first chapters of the Genesis. We talk about God. So He's something, a force, a spirit, whatever we want to say, to try to abstract Him. That is because, as I said, our intelligence cannot really define Him totally yet and comprehend Him intimately. We have some humble, small idea, maybe, and by observing everything is around us, observing his creation and observing everything that defines his attributes. And Allan Kardec and one of the statements he brought from the Genesis is that to comprehend God, we still lack the sense that can be acquired only through complete evolution and purification of ourselves, of the spirit. And yet we put in perspective, because we talk about God hearing us, right? So how is possible? We're putting all these questions because it is a great thing to keep asking questions about even the basic things that we think we understand. How God can hear billions of people in Earth, billions and billions of people all at the same time. Have you ever asked this question? And let's consider that Earth is just a little sand of dust in the whole universe, and start considering that we know there are trillions and trillions, to be honest, more than trillions, it's uncountable planets in the universe, and with potential incountable souls, incountable intelligent lives out there, and all of them can be heard and sensed by God. It is quite amazing. And interesting that he even hear. You don't have to talk to God so he can hear you. He can hear you anytime, even the way you're thinking, or anything that you start to think that you're gonna be doing. So let's understand that it's God everywhere. Then to start, how can we really bring this concept to light? And that God is everywhere. He sees everything. He presides over everything, even the smallest thing. He's the supreme intelligence. He's eternal, meaning that God had no beginning, which was quite a hard definition, because that means if you can't really understand things that have no beginning. He's always been there, even before maybe the creation of the universe. This universe, because there are so many theories out there about multi-universes. He's immutable, that all the rules that govern the universe and are immutable. That means there are no alteration to his rules. The miracles that we see, it's more a word of sentimental miracle that we see. This is a miracle of God. It's great word, but nothing can change the rules that he creates, from physics, from the mathematical systems that is there to govern and balance this amazing universe out there. He's powerful, he's omnipotent, and infinitely perfect, and he's unique. So we see this universe as a result of the laws that he created to balance everything, and we are in it, and we are learning, with science, all these new ways of defining his creation, understand these perfect laws. So it's quite hard to now. There are so many rules that define where the creation of the universe come from, and it's quite hard to understand those that say that the universe was created from nothing, or from a random cause. And there are so many theories out there, and because you can't create anything from nothing, there's always to have something that creates something, right? And Kardec puts very, very perfectly when comparing to a clock. When you see a clock, it's so perfect. It's automatic. It's got regularity in terms of his move. This force is so perfect that the clock is just always. Hopefully, my clock. Hopefully, you have a clock that never gets late. But the force that causes it to move, it's completely material, but it's not intelligent, right? So when you see a clock, you don't see the intelligence there, but you don't say that nothing has created the clock, because that would be not reasonable. Just say that. So who created the clock? So the fact that the intelligence doesn't reside inside the clock doesn't mean there wasn't something intelligence that created the clock. So the creation of the clock testifies that there is the clockmaker, and the clockmaker is intelligent. And that's a nice analogy when you start looking at the universe. The universe being so marvelous, there must be intelligence behind it. And we have so many scientists that do kind of understand. You don't have to call God, but you can call this force that's out there. We're trying to understand that. So, and there's a little story which is quite interesting to define this, and we need to understand that there's always hard work to create something, and that applies to our lives, right? So there's a little story here. It's a person that comes from the city and goes to the farm, to this little farm, very simple farm, and he's got this simple guy working in the farm, and then this guy from the city and goes in, hey, this land here, can you give lettuce? I'm using the give equals produce. Can this land produce lettuce? Or I'm going to be using give, just for analogy. Can this land give lettuce? And the answer from the simple guy farmer says, no sir, cannot give lettuce. Well then, can this land give potatoes? Nope, cannot give potatoes. All right, can it give tomatoes then? No, cannot. Can it give carrots, apples, beans, anything? Is there anything that if it's sowed in these fields that can be produced? It says, oh, and the guy says, oh yes, if sowed, then it can give something. It's all simple, this story, but let's look at perspective. Is that it's a glimpse of everything needs hard work. The land itself is gonna give anything if there's no one working on it and trying to create and produce something. We as co-creators of God, we have the power to create things. But things are not giving, is going to be created from nothing. Neither the universe would come up of nothing if there was no hard work, intelligence behind. Because something cannot be created from nothing without hard work. And that's one of the rules, the rules of work that God puts in the universe. You can see all around us, right? So we have to put some work on everything we want. Doesn't matter if it's years. Doesn't matter how long that takes. It does. We eventually get to a place if we work hard enough. And we can ask God to help us through this path to achieve something. He can help us in different ways, giving us courage, giving us patience, give us some warm feelings that we understand that we're not alone. And that's how about this topic is God can hear you, that you are not alone. Even though sometimes we are in the worst situation in the world that we can't control. And then you're thinking, what else can I do? And then you turn, eventually, even if you're atheist, you turn to God, or turn to the force of nature, says, please help me. And we are sometimes amazingly situations here, we're losing jobs and in the situations that we can't control. And then test our faith. So, and then we see around our nature around us. It's so amazing, the nature. How can you look at nature and see that it's all random, there's no intelligence behind? And just watching a documentary of a forest in the United States, the relationship between the bear, the salmon, the river that's next to the forest, the squirrel, the flower, the nut of that tree, and the bee. If you take one out of this chain, the forest disappears. Anything. If you take the squirrel, the nut can be broken. so the seed inside can go down to earth and then new trees pop up. That's what the squirrel's piece of all this. The bear, if the bear doesn't get the salmon, and then he carries towards inland, which is in the forest, and then he eats. And he goes inside for some reason. Nobody knows. He goes so far instead of being close to the village. You get another one. He goes inside kilometers and then he eats the salmon. And then the crabs actually fertilize the land. And then the trees can grow tall as they are, like 30 meters or more. And some amazing things that all those components make it makes